Greetings.
Greetings. Welcome to Film Gazers, the Minisodes. I'm Steph.
I'm Jess.
This is only episode 2 of the Twilight Saga minisodes that we're covering, and it is 4 days after the new year. So if you are a listener and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I've been
We
waiting
were
forever.
promised.
Yeah, like we were told this was going to be between Christmas and New Year's. Well, 2024 had other plans for dear old Stephanie. And just to make a long story short, it turns out that my dentist is a charlatan, and the
hmm
filling that I received in August of 2023 was done just straight up wrong, and the cavity was never filled. So for like a year and 4 months, I basically had a cavity just hanging out, getting worse, eroding into the root of the tooth. And so for my whole vacation and break after Christmas, I got an infection and had to get my fucking tooth pulled, guys. So
Mm.
just to learn from my horror story, double check your dentist. like like get second opinions for sure, because luckily my dentist was closed for the holidays and I had to go to like I don't know, like a corporate, place or whatever. Yeah, they set me straight. They were like, holy shit. So I found out all the stuff my dentist had been doing wrong or didn't tell me about. And like, I already have a dental phobia and I do have some dental like stuff I need to be done. So it was just very like, I feel so betrayed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and then also, like I said, ruined another vacation of mine, completely ruined this year. So believe me, I was not a happy camper, and there was no way I could talk and do
hmm
mini-sodes. So we do apologize, but luckily, 2024 is fucking over, and
Yes.
this year we're gonna pivot and we're gonna go with the
Pivot.
flow and pivot. We made some minor adjustments. Obviously, these are going to be coming out as we're watching more of the movies.
I just thought of a new theme for
What?
January. Jam-packed January.
There we go. Jam-packed January.
We're gonna be
You're going to
having
have.
mini-sodes. We're gonna be having aliens.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
So yeah, so because of all of this delay, we will be finishing the Twilight Saga minisodes. We're just kind of sprinkle them. Yeah, they'll be sprinkled throughout January, I guess, probably. Because I do have to go out of town next week for work and stuff. So we'll figure it out. And then we will release Resurrection, Alien Resurrection is Jess's choice. And that we
hmm
will do instead of this Tuesday, that'll be the next Tuesday, I believe. And for our listeners, that would basically be the 14th. So yeah, so our episodes will actually release the 14th and the 28th, yeah, for our full-length ones
hmm
to let us get caught back up. Yeah, so with that, let's just jump right in to Twilight New Moon.
Nah, man.
Yeah, man. So I feel like this is like where the team Jacob and team Edward, like
hmm
this is when that began, I'm guessing.
Yes,
Yeah, the
exactly.
kickoff.
Go ahead and tell me what team you're on.
I am team Jacob.
Me too.
Ah!
I've
Yay!
always been Team Jacob.
I would absolutely be team Jacob. Yeah. And basically, so just to summarize this movie to begin with, it was just the first movie over again, but with
But with
Jacob.
Jacob, it's
And then
introducing another monster.
yeah. And then we do at least get the Italian vampires. And now I finally
Military.
also get that meme. Because there's always that meme where it shows the Volturi where they like well, their nose sticking up like they're better than everyone. And I never knew
Right.
what that was from. And now I was like, oh my God, that's what
That's what
this
that's
is from.
from.
That's what that's from. Okay.
It's funny.
The intro scenes of this movie were hilarious. Bella's birthday, hilarious. I love that he like insta broke up with her and she's like fetal position in the woods, like instantly.
Mhm. It's so funny because Dave walked in at one point and I'm giggling like
And he's like, you can't take this seriously anymore, can you? I was like, I don't know when it happened. When did I grow up? Because I remember watching this back in like, 2008, 2009 when it came out and be
Mhm.
like,
Oh my gosh, no. I think I was even too cynical then, but I can see because even my coworker, she loved these movies.
well, and the
She's
book
like,
too is mostly what I loved.
that's what I was thinking because when I was talking to her and I was like, well, it seems like my cousin just really enjoyed the books, like mostly. And then I was like, the movies, though, I was like, we were a little older, and my coworker is like 10 years younger than me. Like, she's a solid, like, Gen Z girl. She said, like, oh no, like being a younger teenage girl, like, she was just obsessed with those movies. And she said that even like in the theater during one of them, she said it might have been New Moon. I think that's why she told me the story. And then like her and her friend went, and she said that like she left marks on her friend's wrist because like at one point she's watching it and she like squeezed her friend's wrist so hard because she was like, I was so jealous. I'm like, how could she get both of these guys when Bella isn't even that pretty? I was like, oh my God, you sound like a little Jessica, 13-year-old Jessica.
Yeah, that does sound
Always,
like me.
I know, always judging.
Always judging.
Oh, it was so funny though. So yeah, I can see from her perspective, and in you as well, like you said when you read them that it just seems so romantic and like
And it
oh,
was,
and
vampires
for
and werewolves and
and this one especially because even when we were watching it, because Andrew watched this one with me too, and Andrew, I told him I'm like, oh, I was like, I can see why Jessica would love this because like her dream is like two men fighting for her.
I was gonna say like, oh, it's got my favorite romantic trope in it.
I know. See, I prefer enemies to lovers. That's my preferred romantic
Mm,
trope.
okay. Yeah. Nope.
Where
I
they
love a
hate each
good love
other, but
triangle.
yeah. No, I like a good enemies to lovers. Or like,
That's so
taming of the
funny.
shrew. Yeah, like I like that kind of. And
Hmm.
this is not that. So, and then Andrew brought up another good point as well when we were watching this because like again he breaks up with her. It seems just very abrupt in the beginning. I'm sure in the book this is better
Right.
explained.
It is.
um yeah, that's what now that I'm watching this movie and after us doing the first one and you telling me, oh well, this is explained and this, I'm like, okay, again, I'll just ask Jessica when we do the mini-sode, and then I'm just gonna assume everything is better explained in the book. Um, but Andrew did say, like, he was like, I mean, it does kind of suck for her though, because like she finds out this whole other like world basically exists, and she's in love with one of the people from it. And
Hmm.
then he's like, basically, you ain't good enough, bitch.
Right. You
Like,
don't belong in my world, obviously. You're not good enough. And she's like
oh,
17, 18 years old. Like, come on.
I know. And that's again where, and in this one, they showed even more of her. Because in the beginning, she's almost trying, though, to be really pushy about wanting to be turned into a vampire. And I agree
Yeah.
with Edward that she is being entirely too flippant about it. Like,
Especially at that age. Like, you can go up to 30, bitch, and you can still, like, he don't look that young.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, especially a girl like her, like, yeah, you could be 25 to 30 and still get away with like dating a guy
Being
that looked like
20.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, exactly. Like this is the equivalent, I feel like, of like when you're 17, you're like, I'm gonna just get his name tattooed on me. It's like,
Exactly.
no,
I'm gonna
just
marry him, mom.
like just wait, just wait.
You're the
It's
you just
something you
met. I don't care.
I'm gonna be a vampire now.
I'm gonna be a vampire. I'm gonna sell my soul to the devil and be immortal.
But no, her plan and her
It
wants,
sounds so goth, but it doesn't come across that way.
no, it doesn't. Yeah, it's just hers is just whiny. And then they show all the
Hmm.
beginning of her just like rotting in the chair. Again, my coworker remembered this scene very
The old lady scene.
fondly almost. Well, not the old lady scene, the scene where she was just when she was young and she's just trying to get over the breakup and she's just sitting like
Oh, I
in her
thought you meant the
room
beginning scene when
and
she thinks she's
yeah.
old, when she's the old lady.
No, that's what cracked me up because I'm like, oh my God, that's really like that's the first thing she's worried about. Like you
That's her
literally are still
biggest
just
fear.
getting to know this guy and like know who he is. Like he's 108 years old. Like
109.
there's a lot about him you do not know yet. Like you have a lot to
Right.
get to know before you should be making any of those decisions. So
She
this
doesn't
is
need to
yeah, but
know.
daddy, I love him. Like,
Yeah.
like for as an adult, this is so hard to watch for me.
It's so funny to watch as an adult and like really watch it and like scrutinize it. Because me and Dave were talking
Mhm.
about it. And I was like, you notice like how happy she is with Jacob and like how they have so much fun. I was like, she never smiles with Edward.
I
Like I
I
literally
don't
love
know
everything about this guy, but I don't want to fuck him.
how he is obviously the better looking one of the two.
Obviously, because he's warm. First
I know.
off.
I was like, girl, you ready to give this all up for an icicle dick?
Yes.
Like you know
ugh.
Jacob be
Get yourself a
packing.
popsicle and try it out. See if that's what you want.
I don't think it's gonna be. Oh my God. But how they set up too.
And
So yeah,
still,
we have
Jacob still gave me butterflies in this movie. I'm like, good
I,
God. Good
It's-
golly, Miss Molly. Like, I know he's like
I-
18 in this.
I know. I
But
was gonna say, I was
damn.
like, it almost makes you feel like uncomfortable, but because I'm like,
No,
dude,
because
put shirts
I
on.
remember watching this when I was, I was only like, I think 22.
Mhm.
So I was closer to his age then. So that's how I'm viewing
Yeah.
myself watching this movie again. So it's okay. I'm looking through my 22-year-old eyes, not my 40-year-old eyes. And he's like 35 now, so it's fine. He's not actively an 18-year-old.
He's not Edward. He's not forever 18.
Exactly. I mean, they do kind of freeze in time when they're werewolves. Like they
Oh,
don't
they
really
do
get
as
older
well.
either.
Okay, kind of like Saiyans and Dragon Ball.
Mm.
They age much slower, basically.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it is. Like they still age, but it's much, much slower.
Much, yeah, yeah. And and that's what I think was cool about this one at least. Because they basically let you know that there have been some murders again. And in the beginning, Bella sees like these crazy wolves. And she even lets her dad and the cop people know, like, oh my God, I saw these crazy like wolves in the fucking woods. I think that's what's been fucking shit up. And but it turns out it was actually other vampires
Hmm.
because we find
I think it was
out,
Laurent and Victoria.
yes, because we find out that the wolves kill vampires. Like that's, I guess, their purpose. I
That's
don't know,
their.
like,
It is. They.
yeah.
It was like they. I think they eventually tell a story in the next movie. If not, it's in the book, and I'll tell you about it. But it's
Mhm.
like their tribe originated the werewolves. I can't remember exactly how. I'll have to look it up.
Okay. Yeah, because they gave us like hints about that, but they didn't fully explain it
Explain
yet.
it.
But just, yeah, that their tribe was meant to uh kill vampires, but they were created by vampires? Like what? That's
No, they
where I'm
weren't
like,
created by
what?
vampires. They were created by the
Oh.
natives, by their tribe, within their
Oh.
tribe, to combat
Oh.
the vampires
The vampires. And then they did make a pact with the Cullens because the
because they were
Cullens are like,
different.
yo, they were different and they only ate animals and they
They
aren't trying
only
to
hunt in
murder a bunch of
certain.
people.
They
Areas. Yeah,
don't
they
hunt
have
in
their
their
land.
areas. Yeah,
Yeah. And so they kind of have this pact or truce or treaty. It's a treaty, I guess, really more than anything. And so,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's kind of the big like more major plot besides the romance going on in this one. And again, yeah, we see Bella and Jacob and their friendship really flourish and blossom because Edward broke up with her and then when she's all depressed and her dad's like, "Yo, you need to get out and stuff." And so, yeah, she finds comfort in Jacob and he's wonderful and they build a motorcycle together and she's all like,
Mm-hmm.
"I got a death wish." And like I don't. I'm just. I'm
It's
so
so
sick of
cringe.
her. I'm so sick of this damsel in distress like bullshit. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
by movie 3, she better get some fucking cojones, or this is gonna be a rough fucking ride for me.
Yeah,
Like,
I never liked that part either, especially because they don't explain. He doesn't have telepathy, as far as I'm aware. He can just read thoughts, and even if he were able to send his thoughts to a person, he wouldn't be able to do it to Bella anyway because she's immune to that.
immune. Mm-hmm.
So how is she seeing him? So how is she seeing him?
They didn't. I think that's just her being crazy.
It must be
I don't
because even
think
in the
that's
book, I don't
actually
think it
him.
ever explains that.
Yeah, no, I think that's literally her just being so fucking dramatic about it, because he breaks
Yes,
up with her
that's the
essentially
word.
because they take her to the Volturi or whatever as well. And then they find out that she's like immune to all of the vampires' special abilities and stuff. And they're like, ooh, this
Mhm.
is very interesting. And basically, the vampires are like, well, if you don't kill her, you got to turn her. Like, she needs to be
Right.
one of
She knows
us.
too
And
much.
like, she knows too much, and then also her powers are cool. We can like maybe benefit from them, you know.
Hmm.
So they do say that, but then Edward breaks up with her instead and is like,
No,
you
that he
know,
breaks
I
up with
can.
her before that.
Oh, he does.
He breaks up with her at the beginning of the movie
Well, they then why was he? Then why did she get dragged to the Volturi after the
because
breakup?
when she jumped off the cliff, Alice saw her jump off the cliff, but when Alice
Oh,
can't
because that
see the
happens
werewolves.
later. I
Yes.
got you. I got you. Okay, for some reason I
And
was thinking that
so
happened in the
Edward thought that she
beginning.
was dead. So that's why he went to go kill
Oh,
himself with
that's
the
right. Thank you.
Volturi.
Okay. Sorry, guys. It's been like well over a week since I've watched it
Okay, I
now.
just watched it last night.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I had watched it and took my notes like the night, like when I thought we were going to be able to do it much sooner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, because then the whole time she's sending those stupid emails to Alice. Oh, dear Alice, dear
And
Alice.
and it's funny because in the
Like,
book it's get you get more of like the relationship, and this it's like they talked twice and all of a sudden she's like writing her these emails. In the book they have more of a friendship that it touches on.
oh, and I felt like it was completely one-sided, to be honest. Like, I didn't even think like Alice cares about her that much. Like the way the movie makes it. Like the movie
That's
seems like, yeah,
right.
she cares, but like not like they're, yeah, besties or anything.
Yeah. No, in the book
Because
she's
I'm
like
like,
Alice is already uh, like no, she's my sister.
oh, okay. Yeah, see, and they do a shit job of showing like a female friendship like that. Like everything is just so of the boy-centric variety, you know? And like you said,
Hmm.
even in the book, she does have like a close girlfriend, but in this, you would think she's just such this like, I'm that loner girl. I don't have girlfriends. Like, you know,
I'm
like
just
that's
so
what it
obsessed with my
almost.
boyfriend.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't know. So yeah, so we had all of that going on. Yeah, and then she jumps off that cliff because they show earlier the werewolf boys. And Jacob even would hang out with these guys, and then ooh, all of a sudden the guys are weird and they're hanging out with this one guy, and like, ooh, they're a bad influence. But it comes to find out it's just because they're turning into fucking werewolves and it hadn't happened to Jacob yet. And so obviously
Right.
they don't spill the beans until, you know, they're ready. And I have I have and then because Sam rescues her at one point from the other vampire, correct?
Yes.
And the
No, I mean,
earlier, yeah.
no, Sam rescues her from the woods when she was like crying about Edward.
Yes,
Jacob
yeah.
rescues her from Laurent, I think. Or
Yes.
was that Sam too?
Yes.
Either way, there was all of them.
Yeah, either way, so he saves them. And I was like, Sam ain't too bad looking either.
And
And
that's what
I
I'm saying. I
have
was like, you could have like that whole family vibe. Like you could have a Native American guy.
I know it's just very like I mean, Edward is just like a pretty boy. Yeah. And
I
like
think it's
Jacob
just
is a
the appeal
guy
of
I
being a
feel like who could
vampire.
like I guess, but I mean, they don't make vampire being a vampire seem that cool. Like their running
Right.
is just
Every time they crouch in the
ridiculous.
woods, I'm like, that's just not intimidating to me.
No, I'm like, yeah, if you're a fucking werewolf, it would be. So there was the movie scene where they all meet up at the movies. And this is
Yeah.
when Jacob is beginning to get the signs of being a werewolf. And I guess it's like a fever is how it starts out. But they have a super awkward hand holding. And I wrote, "This is the skin of a needy girl, Jacob."
What acronym does that make?
It makes tit
Titsone.
stone
Titsone.
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 Oh. Yep. I was like, the next thing you know, he gets all aggro and then he cuts his hair, he gets a tattoo. He confronts Bella about the Cullens. He's like, "I know you're trying to be a fucking vampire, bitch. Fuck you."
Yeah, and she's like, "What the fuck?"
I know. She's like, completely comes from left field. So this movie, yeah, it was just, again, like I said, it was basically the first movie of her discovering all this stuff and like, what the fuck, being confused and all this. And but now it's, yeah, love triangle almost.
My favorite, like this is one of the ones that goes around too. One of the Twilight quotes. And when he says, "Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?" That's one of the quotes that circulates.
I think that's what my coworker mentioned too. And I just did not remember that one for some reason. I had written down, "What? I'm not the right kind of monster for you."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, burn."
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
What did I write down? Another one too. What a marshmallow. That's what he calls them at the movies. Because he thinks he's throwing up because the movie was too gory.
Yeah.
What a marshmallow.
Marshmallow. It's funny.
And then after Jacob goes all crazy on him at the movies, and Mike's like, "That dude is weird."
Yeah. Oh, well, and that guy, I hate him too, though.
I don't like his little face. He's got a little Cabbage Patch face.
Yeah, and he's just a dick.
Well, and I'm like, you can see she's been like uber depressed for months on end. And as soon as she sits down at your table, you're fucking asking her on a date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy's just a sleaze. I'm like, none of the human friends, I mean, I can kind of see why she's like hanging out with werewolves and vampires because these people are fucking lame.
Well, she's like so old now based on what she's done and seen. She can't possibly hang out with regular high schoolers anymore.
I know, right? And then I do have at the very end, we basically established too, like we've mentioned the Volturi, we mentioned all of that. This is almost like a full-length episode. The in-depthness that we've got on some of the plot. Like it's always been him, like Edward is like, but at the end of the day, they're both trying to decide what's best for her. And that's another thing that pisses me off about this movie because it's, Jacob saying, "No, you can't be a vampire." And then, or I'm sorry, Edward. And then, Jacob also trying to be like, "Get away from the vampire." It's like they're all just trying to make her own decisions for her. And then she's also kind of like going along with it almost. It's just really aggravating. And then you realize that she's going to choose fucking Edward, of course, over Jacob.
Always.
And yeah. And basically, Jake also tells them, though, he's like, if you turn her, then you break the fucking treaty. And then it's on like Donkey Kong. But I'm like, you're putting the Cullens in an awkward position because Bella is literally asking it. Like, if a human is asking to be turned, I think that's their prerogative. The werewolves that mind your business, like in that respect.
Right.
Especially if it's the Cullens. Like, she's not turning into just any vampire. She wants to be the kind that the Cullens are and not murder
the
other
vegetarians.
people. Yeah, vegetarians, the vampires. And then so Jake is obviously fucking pissed. He's like, "Fine, join and hang out with these fucking people. Like, fuck you." And he
die.
takes off. Yeah, and die. And then Edward is all of a sudden now cool again because, oh, she didn't kill herself or whatever. She survived the cliff. And the Volturi have kind of demanded it, saying, if you don't turn her, we're going to kill her eventually. And
Mhm.
it ends with, marry me, Bella. And then I threw up in my mouth. That was that was the last note.
And then I threw up in my mouth. Marry me, Bella.
I'm like, no. As someone who was engaged at 17, don't do it.
Oh shit, you were that young, weren't you?
Yeah. Don't do it. No, the high school boyfriend will not work out 9 times out of 10.
Ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you, in 10 years, you're such a different person than you were at 17, 18.
Oh yeah, and then 5 years time, I feel like in your 20s, it's like I met my husband obviously when we were early 20s, but I had 5 more years of my brain to develop. Like,
Right. That's a lot. Like 5 years sounds like nothing,
and we
but
didn't even it's and we didn't get married right away. Like we were together 6 years before we got married. Like,
right.
so
You're like, we knew.
yeah. So just watching these kind of movies sometimes, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Especially when you're like to become a fucking vampire. Like that's a big
Yeah,
deal.
that's what I'm saying. That's the stakes. Like it'd be different.
Regardless
Like
of
she can get
getting
divorced if she
married.
just gets married. Yeah, like no, you're committing to become a fucking vampire forever. Yeah. So these movies are crazy. Um, very, very teen. I will give them that the production value did increase a lot in this one. And
Yeah.
the scenery was still really nice. Like the atmosphere is definitely on point. I do enjoy that about
I
these
love
movies.
the soundtrack. I'm gonna have to look the soundtrack up.
Yes, the soundtrack is decent. And I had actually my journal sister even would always bring up the soundtrack, being like, "Oh, I feel like you would really like the Twilight soundtrack, even if you don't like, the movie or anything. It had good
Hmm.
soundtracks." And I was like, "Oh, I think yeah, I might add them, see if they're on Spotify or anything. Put them in
I
the
still love the
rotation."
scenery.
Yeah,
Gorgeous.
gorgeous. And like I said, yeah, I'm Team Jacob.
Gorgeous.
That's definitely how this ended for me.
I enjoyed watching Jacob shirtless again.
His haircut's nice, but I kind of liked him with the long hair. So, but I thought it looked nice on him. It suited his face still.
Hmm.
And I think
Yes.
it suited his shirtless vibe better too. I think if you're a man with long hair and then you're topless, it matches the aesthetic better. Like, you look like, yeah, like you're like an outdoorsy guy or like a surfer guy or like,
Right.
like when you're a man with like that really short, like almost like buzz cut kind of back, and then you're wearing like no shirt and like jeans, it just
Jean
throws the look off.
shorts.
Yeah, jean shorts. Yeah, it throws the look off quite a bit. It also, for some reason, feels more threatening. Like, and I
It
don't know
does. It feels
why.
like those dude's coming to beat my ass.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're
Yeah,
like, oh,
like we're
this dude's coming to be like, brah.
yeah, exactly. Like, brah, let's go jump off the cliffs. And then
Yeah, like,
if he
oh,
has a
okay,
short
cool.
haircut
He's like,
and he's
I'm
coming
gonna
towards
throw your
me.
ass off the cliff.
Exactly. It's amazing what a haircut a difference
It
makes.
does. It really does.
Oh, it's so funny. Um, but yeah, that was Twilight New Moon, movie 2 of the saga.
The saga, not trilogy.
Yeah, not trilogy. My bad. Again, I
I mean, my bad
forever
too.
regret this mistake.
I mean, we were gonna do them eventually anyway. It's fine.
Exactly. I know.
Jam-packed January.
And as always, guys, you can find us at Film Gazers on the social medias. You can check out our Discord, the Film Gazers podcast community. And
Immunity.
remember, we will be starting our Aliens.
Still waiting.
Almost done
Almost done
waiting.
waiting.
Almost done waiting. as part of our jam-packed January. And that will be Alien Resurrection. And that is going to be Tuesday the 14th. We are, I believe, on a different Tuesday schedule now
It happens.
because of all the shit. And then on the 28th, we will be doing The Faculty, which is the one that I chose. All right, guys, with that, it's time for us to hit the dusted trail.
Until next time.
Later,
Taters.
taters.